Students, now I have come to the poem Leaves of Grass and Song of Myself by Walt Whitman. I have already stated in the beginning that the poem Leaves of Grass contains as a part of it the poem The Song of Myself. So, it is very important to remember that the Song of Myself is included in the longer poem The Leaves of Grass. And it is also important to remember that the longer poem Leaves of Grass is a collection of several poems. And in the period of the poet's life, this poem went on several revisions. So the poet himself had revised the poem Leaves of Grass again and again till his death. Leaves of Grass went through many revisions. It was first published in 1855, and at that time it was a small poem of 12 pieces. But when it was finally published, it contained more than 400 poems. When it was finally published in 1891-92, the poet was at that time in his deathbed. Leaves of Grass, these went on any modifications and revisions, and after that it achieved final form. Going through this collection, R.W. Emerson wrote a very encouraging letter to Whitman. Emerson wrote in his letter to Whitman, I quote, "I am not blind to worth of the wonderful gift of Leaves of Grass. I find it the most extraordinary piece of wit and wisdom that America has yet contributed," etc. Unquote. This is one of the best creations of Walt Whitman. Most of the poetic pieces here symbolize a journey of the human soul from the state of the individuality to infinity. And this, being the muse of most of the scriptures of India, this collection of Whitman stands as specimen of the concept of soul making, the idea envisaged in the Upanishads and the Gita. You have already found this concept in Emerson's poem. So this part of Leaves of Grass you must know. This is the background of Leaves of Grass. So you should know the background before going through the main poem, that is the poem Song of Myself. I'll come to the main poem now. The poem Song of Myself is a great treasure of the whole English literature. The famous poem, renowned piece of literature. Here the poet Whitman actually has given words to the universal individuality. This is very, very important. So, through the title, the poet apparently advocates the song of the poet himself. But in reality, it is the feeling and desire of each and every individual soul. So, here lies the main importance of the poem Song of Myself. The poem starts as, I quote, "I celebrate myself and sing myself, and what I assume you shall assume, for every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you." Unquote. It is purely the song of the poet. He is singing. His idea is coming through this poem as song. Thus the poem narrates that each and every belongings of a person is connected to the universal entity. Birth, death, possessions, the body, the muscles, the blood, the cells, everything of an individual actually are related to the supreme reality. The poem is telling that, establishing that. So in this poem, the term I represents the individual soul, and the song is the outpouring of this particular entity for its crave for unification with the ultimate reality, that is the infinite soul. So the song, it is the desire. It is the desire incarnated through words. The desire, the crave for unification. Unification between individual soul and the infinite soul. And this is evidently the teachings of Upanishads and Gita, which through every sentence have established the connection between Jivatma and Paramatma. You all know that. The core message of all these books is that one who sees himself in everyone and sees everyone in himself can become the best human being by reaching towards the point of assimilation with the higher soul. So this is the message that Krishna uttered before Arjuna. And thus we may take as an example one verse from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says, "Sarva bhutasthamatmanang sarva bhutani chatmani ikshati yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana." Sarva bhutasthamatmanang sarva bhutani chatmani ikshati yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana. It is taken from the 6th chapter, and it is the 29th verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Thus, when Whitman's I says that in all people I see myself, none more and not one a barley corn less. So, it is just the reflection of the Upanishadic ideas, of the idea of the Gita. It seems that the individual soul is equating itself with each and every one's soul in this world, and it subsequently wishes all good to all in these surroundings. Thus, what is Gita telling through this verse? Actually, this is only a portion of the Gita, and the message which is disseminated through this verse, it is surrounded all through the Gita, through all the slokas, all the verses of Gita. So, what is the message of this verse? Here Krishna tells that, places before Arjuna, that he is the man. He gets the touch of supremacy. He gets united with the Supreme, who sees himself in other and who sees other in himself. So this equation of myself and thyself, this is proclaimed in the Gita, in the Upanishads, and also it is going on through the lines of Whitman. This part of the poem instantly reminds us of the message of Lord Krishna given to Arjuna. So when this part is uttered, that is I, myself, barley corn less, the part where these words are implemented, this part reminds us of the message of Lord Krishna given to Arjuna immediately. What does Lord say? Te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rata. Te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rata. So one who is philanthropic in nature, who sees good to others, who always wants to do good to others, who never does anything to harm others, that person only gets the touch of supremacy. That person only gets united with the Supreme Soul. As when the poet says with I, and I know that the Spirit of God is the brother of my own, and that all the men ever born are also my brothers, and the women my sisters and lovers. It reflects the muse of universal brotherhood and the sense of selfless belongingness to the society. Selfless belongingness to the society. The poet belongs to the society, but he doesn't carry any selfish nature with him. So this is the stage where the individual soul can get the touch of the infinite reality. In this way of 52nd poem in the Leaves of Grass. So my dear students, the Song of Myself, it is the 52nd poem in the Leaves of Grass. I have already told you, Leaves of Grass is a long poem. Here, the 52nd part is the Song of Myself. Under the title Song of Myself, through 1,300 lines, the poet Whitman proclaims the song of transcendentality. And actually, this message of transcendentality, the muse of upliftment, the song of unification of the individual with the Paramatman, with the infinite, it is very much Vedantin in nature. So the Vedantic message, so the Vedantic value has been given through the lines of Song of Myself, and that you should know. Thank you. Namaskar.